Your hair needs to be mostly a natural color. No, not like that. I attended university about 10 years ago. As is pretty standard when one is a student, I dyed my hair funky colors. When I returned home to my summer job, I had short blue hair. My summer job was in retail. I worked on a checkout. One day my manager pulled me aside and told me the uniform policy said I wasn't allowed to have the majority of my hair an unnatural color. I asked what a majority meant, and he said I'd be allowed streaks, but not my whole head. So home I went with a box of brown dye. The next day I turned up to work with the majority of my hair brown. But my fringe, bangs, and my undercut were still blue. Because of my hairstyle being short. From the front, where the customers were, all that could be seen was my blue fringe. My manager told me it was unacceptable, even though I pointed out that more than 3/4 of my hair was now brown. He said I had to dye the fringe and undercut brown too, or he'd fire me. I dyed them brown, and immediately started wearing clip-in colored hairpieces. He let me keep those, but he was not happy. I still don't know why my ability to serve people was affected by my hair color. Edit for formatting. I never understood that. I've worked in restaurants my whole working career, and I've never been allowed to dye my hair funky colors. Until my current job, I checked the uniform policy. Nothing about hair color at all. So, I asked one of the owners if I could dye my hair a stupid color. His response was, "Like what? Brown?" Quote, I told him I was thinking of bright pink, and he told me to go for it and have fun. He said life is too short to be serious all the time. If dyeing my hair pink will make me happy, he won't stop me. So I now have super bright, neon pink hair. Literally no one cares. Even the crabby old people that eat here have told me it looks cute. Pink hair doesn't stop me from doing my job. If anything, it makes me feel better about myself. And in turn I give better customer service. You know, white is a natural hair color because albinism is a thing, so that could have been a fun solution. All about control. I have been a caregiver for 10 years. I have only had a natural color once. My older clients love it and it helps them set me apart. Where is the pink girl? Quote, I work for an engineering company. There was a policy that your hair had to be a natural hair color. I knew people that wore beanies all day to hide their hair. Then I noticed one of the higher managers had purple streaks in her hair. Checked the policy and that was still forbidden. It was a talking point amongst us workers, and I guess somebody went to HR. And out a month later I checked and the policy had been quietly changed to remove the hair color rule. So I guess it takes upper-level people to get the policy changed. Most of the people I see with weird colored hair work in our corporate departments. Most of the technical people have normal, colored hair. I'm glad to see that people realize that your hair doesn't affect your professionalism. And now I want to dye my hair blue. This isn't MC. But when I worked for FedEx, I dyed my hair all blue as well. My managers gave zero fucks and we didn't have customers. Well, that talked or looked at me anyways. But my coworkers sure did care. I was the first one with unnatural hair. Then less than a month later, one girl also dyed her hair blue and even told me it was because she liked mine so much. And 2 more people I didn't talk to dyed their hair bright green and red. It's a really nice feeling when your look inspires someone else to do something cool. But sadly, that's also probably something that would upset petty management. I was working as a victim advocate and had agreed to meet a client at the courthouse. I told her to sit in a particular spot and I would come find her. From what I read, the client was in her early 70s. And when I got to the spot, there was a woman sitting there in some very avant-garde fashion with a severe teal chin-length bob. I thought for sure this was not my client and called her, only to have the woman in front of me pick up her phone. Thankfully, she didn't know what I looked like, so I quickly hung up and approached her like I'd just found her. I learned to ask people to describe themselves rather than just relying on the fact that they may be in the right spot. It's a fucking control thing, emo. They start letting you express yourself by your hair color, soon enough you'll be asking for a better wage and better treatment. Better stamp that out quick. So a few years ago I was made redundant when the shop I was working in closed. During the period where it was winding down, I went for an interview at a local supermarket. The interview lasted 30 seconds because it went along the lines of the guy looking at my CV, looking at me and going, "How difficult would it be for you to get rid of that crap in your hair?" Meaning my purple and red, which is the majority of my hair. I asked if he was serious, and when he said he was, I told him to F off. I have 20 years experience in retail and I was a manager. And all he wanted to ask about was my hair color. I wasn't about to change it so I could sit behind a checkout at a second-rate discount supermarket for minimum wage, especially when the fancy, expensive supermarket down the street couldn't care less about what color their employees dye their hair. I hate people who think something like hair color or piercings mean you can't do a job. I'm so sick of all these bullshit rules about hair color, or tattoos, or fucking facial hair not being allowed at work because it is unprofessional. It's an old, outdated rule that makes literally no sense in 2021. The person at the cash register of the gas station is not going to affect my purchasing decisions because they have a beard instead of just a mustache. Dumb. I am glad that I work in a place that doesn't judge me for being an engineer with long hair. My ability to solve problems isn't affected by the length of my hair. And I keep it up and tight so it's not a safety problem. As long as you look well kempt and professional, like you actually care about your appearance, and do your job well, who cares? I never understand why you have to have natural colored hair for a retail or food service job. Funny story though. I was once in the military and you could have two-toned hair, unless you could prove it was natural. Well, a girl got two-toned hair, so her top was blonde and her bun was brown, which is a no-go. I have a natural auburn hair and she tried to say that if she had to dye her hair, so did I, because my hair was obviously dyed. I shut that down real quick. She then moved on to a girl with naturally dirty blonde hair to try to prove her point. She had to get her hair redone. Worked at a pool teaching swim lessons. Mostly summer work. From one summer to the next I got a few tattoos, despite having no policy against them. Boss told me that if I got one more tattoo, I might not get hours. Asked her to show me the policy. She couldn't. Came back next year with a full sleeve. Got dirty looks but nothing else. I work reception at a tech company. Asked my boss if I could dye it in a funky purple pink and showed him a picture. He said yes. Came in on Monday. His biggest complaint: it wasn't pink and purple but blue and purple. Explained that the hairdresser ran out of pink. Was still disappointed, but he could live with the blue. It's been going from purple to pinkish to blue and vice versa ever since. About 10 years now. Only big issue I have to adhere to is no big cleavage. Corset or metal band tees when certain customers come. Otherwise it's pretty casual dress code here. I have purple hair and the customers love it. One of my managers even had purple hair like me and encouraged me when I was hesitant about the reaction of the other managers. My head of store couldn't believe I did it, but she actually admitted she loved it and it suited me. It is so dumb that the color of our hair is such a concern. Or the way we choose to decorate our bodies with ink and jewelry. Trust me, the way I look has nothing to do with how well my customer service is. Joanna, we need to have a talk about your flair. I'm in my late 40s, and I think bright hair colors are really cool. Yeah, I never understood that notion how my hairstyle or color affects my work ethic and moral standing. It doesn't. My mom thinks my hairstyle and color. It was bright blue but faded now. And choice of clothing are not respectful or respectable. I wear for comfort and creativity, and none of it is terribly outlandish or immodest at all. I'm well covered. My work ethic is fine. And honestly, when I'm comfortable and happy, my morale is higher, which in turn does affect how I do my job. I can do it better when I'm not frustrated with how I'm forced to dress in uncomfortable clothes, and have no choice in how I do my hair and express myself. Thankfully, this and tattoo acceptance is changing. It's changing at such a snail's pace though, which is unfortunate. So many companies still enforce these kind of dumb rules. But when all these stupid policy-making MFERs die out, the whole thing will end. When I started a previous job, I had pillarbox red hair. 2 years in, they decided I needed to have a natural color. I didn't fancy a natural color, so instead I shaved my head. My next shift, my manager pulled me into the office and told me it wasn't acceptable. I pointed out the male manager with a shaved head and asked why he was allowed it. She went red and told me to leave the office. Most of my regulars asked why I'd shaved my head, and I happily told them the reason why. A few months later, when it was long enough, I went back to red.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.